Today on Eye on Northwest Politics, shining a spotlight on Oregon's 2nd Congressional District. What are voters there saying about a potential government shutdown and Medicaid cuts? I'm joined by Oregon's only Republican Congressman, Cliff Bentz. Then, a new candidate enters the race for the 2nd District. Business owner Patty Snow on how she'd take on Bentz and try to bring Democrats a victory in a red district. Plus, getting desperate. An Oregon native and former Desperate Housewives star shares her opposition to rescinding a rule that keeps developers out of Oregon's forest lands.
Honestly, it's a thinly veiled land grab for private interests.
It's this week's Give Me a Minute. Eye on Northwest Politics starts now. Thanks for joining us. This is Eye on Northwest Politics. I'm Ken Boddie. Let's get right to your top political headlines. The city of Portland taking a first step to possibly removing ice from the south waterfront. It issued a land use violation on Thursday. The city says violations against the facility include holding detainees for more than 12 hours and boarding up the windows. Coin 6 has reached out to ICE. So far, we have not gotten a response. A special session delayed twice in Salem is now pushed to September 29th. Lawmakers are waiting to vote on a $4.3 billion transportation package. But Democrats need everyone in their party to attend so the package can pass. And Senator Chris Gorsuch of Gresham has not yet recovered from back surgery, so he cannot vote as of yet. Well, Oregon Republican Congressman Cliff Bentz held his most recent town hall virtually this week. He, like other Republicans in Congress, have decided not to hold live town halls, citing a growing number of attendees engaging in, quote, intentionally disruptive, repetitive, practiced, rude, and demeaning behavior. The only Republican in Oregon's congressional delegation, Congressman Bentz, is here to talk about all that, the budget bill being considered in Congress, and what he is hearing from his constituents in Oregon's 2nd Congressional District. Congressman Bentz, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Ken, it's great to be with you again.
You've been holding telephone and virtual town halls for a while now. How has that changed your interactions with your constituents in District 2?
Well, it's been enormously successful. The first town hall we held, we broke up our 20 counties into sets of about 6 or 8. But on the first one, we dialed 100,000 people, and I think 13,000 people stayed on the line for all or part of the town hall. Then our second one, which was last week, we had 50,000 people dialed and 9,000 people stayed on. And then a night or so ago, we did 2 nights ago, we again did another 50,000 dials, and again we had about 9,000 people stay on the line. So over the past 5 or 6 weeks, we've spoken to close to 31,000 people. So that's an astounding result, and one I'm very, very happy to have been the partial architect of. I almost have to thank those people that were so disruptive, and I guess their intent was to intimidate, but what they really did is just make it impossible for us to hold a decent conversation. So these virtual town halls have been extraordinarily successful in giving people the chance to ask a question without being interrupted or booed, and a chance for me to answer without the same kind of treatment. So we'll go back to live town halls again, but we're not going to stop doing these telephone town halls because we reach so many more people. It's amazing.
Why do you think the previous disruptions were organized as opposed to legitimate concerns coming from your constituents in the district?
Ken, it's pretty hard to ignore the organizational element when they were practicing in the room before I came in. Telling you, stand up when he says something, sit down when he says this, wave a red flag when he says that, all boo when he says that. They were practicing before I got there. That shows organization. And then they actually handed a bunch of their materials, their organizational materials, to one of my staff, who they wrongfully assumed was one of the people they'd brought in for these things. They're organized, and it's indivisible, the group indivisible that's doing the organizing.
Congresspersons on both sides of the aisle have canceled public appearances, especially outdoors, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. Do you think public officials should get more security, as President Trump is suggesting now?
Well, absolutely. We need to make absolutely sure that they're safe. We need to make sure, as Dan Lanning, the coach of the University of Oregon football team, who I will recommend his remarks to everybody that wants to go online and find them. where he says, let's also make sure we're protecting our kids and everybody else in this kind of situation. This is we have a change in circumstance with these young men, nihilistic, some people would say, going out and causing grievous, terrible harm. So it's not just politicians that need to be protected. It's schools and churches and other gatherings of people.
Funding for the federal government expires on September 30th, and Congress is considering a short-term spending bill. Democrats are threatening a government shutdown if the bill doesn't address the rising cost of health care. What's your take on all that?
Well, we just passed the continuing resolution across the floor of the House a couple of hours ago that would keep the government open until late November. And it was exactly the right thing to do. We were joined by one Democrat. One Democrat voted for the resolution. I'm happy that in part it was kind of bipartisan, but now it goes to the Senate, and the Senate should do exactly what it did last time and recognize that a government shutdown is really bad for this country, bad. And so the challenge now is to keep the government open and then work toward addressing the issues the Democrats are and we are concerned about. I would just say to the Democrats that are talking about health care, they need to look at what they've done to healthcare and the incredible cost that has occurred as a result of the ACA. Some people refer to it as Obamacare. I would recommend that people take a look at what insurance companies' profits have done since the advent of the Affordable Care Act. Take a look at their stock price and how it has skyrocketed. And what we should be doing is addressing the impact of so-called free health care on the cost to people that are actually paying for the health insurance.
On the health care issue, a large percentage of your district is on Medicare and Medicaid. And last time we talked, you defended the Medicaid reductions in the big, beautiful bill. Do you still support those reductions?
Yes, I do. And what I'm saying we need to do is recognize that addressing the fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicaid is absolutely essential. I don't know why people bring up Medicare, because they should not. Medicare was not involved in the big bill at all. And one of the reasons I stopped doing my live town halls was because Democrats and the Indivisible group would show up and pretend to confuse Medicare with Medicaid. And they were doing it on purpose to try to scare people. And that's wrong. They shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. And as far as Medicaid goes, there's huge amounts of money in the system that need to be properly spent on what is an important, essential program, and that's Medicaid. So is Medicare, by the way, but we're talking about Medicaid. We need to do our best to protect that system and make sure it's not being abused, as is currently the case.
We've only got about a minute left, Congressman, and you're running for re-election in 2026 in a Republican district you won handily last year. You got a few challengers on the Democratic side who have filed. How confident are you that you can carry your district again in 2026?
Oh, I will carry the district again, and I want to thank all those folks who supported me. I think I'm I'm from there. I've lived there. I'm the third generation. I think we're on our fifth generation as families, as the Bentz family goes. I very much enjoy bringing my background in that area to Washington, D.C., so I can help on issues like the wolf and water and timber, mining and roads and other things that we absolutely need out here. I will be reelected, and I just want to thank every voter that's helped me get this job, and I hope keep it.
Congressman Cliff Bentz, coming to us from Washington, D.C., and your office is there. We were talking before this interview about how you've been traveling back and forth from coast to coast for a while now. We'll see you back in the district sometime soon.
Thank you so much, Ken. I appreciate it.
Next, another Democrat looking to challenge Congressman Bentz in Oregon's 2nd District. My conversation with Southern Oregon businesswoman Patty Snow, next on Eye on Northwest Politics.